What if I told you that the moment you defend yourself, you've already lost the power game? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the most dangerous people never explain themselves. The moment you defend yourself. Picture this scenario. Someone attacks your character, questions your motives, or calls you out publicly. Your natural instinct screams at you to fight back, to explain, to justify your actions. But here's what Machiavelli knew that most people never will. That split-second decision to defend yourself is exactly when you hand over all your power. Think about it. When you rush to explain yourself, what are you really saying? You're telling the world that their opinion matters more than your own certainty. You're accepting their right to judge you. You're playing their game on their field by their rules. And in this isn't just philosophy, that moment, you've already lost. The man who defends himself admits he's weak enough to need to. This isn't just philosophy. It's psychological warfare at its finest. Here's the brutal truth that will change everything for you. Defending yourself rarely convinces anyone of anything. What it does is shift the entire power dynamic away from you. When you justify your actions, you're essentially saying, you have the authority to question me. And once they have that authority, they control the narrative completely. But what happens when you don't defend yourself? Something magical occurs. The accusation hangs in the air, waiting for your reaction. And when none comes, the power vacuum gets filled by something far more potent than any explanation could ever be. Mystery. Let me paint you a picture. A magical occurrence. You walk into a room. Someone throws shade at your success or your attitude. Everyone turns to see your reaction. Here's your move. Say absolutely nothing. No defense, no retaliation, not even a smirk. Just complete, unshakable stillness. In that moment, you become untouchable. Why? Because everyone in that room is now forced to ask themselves, why didn't he react? Does he know something we don't? Is he above this? Did that attack just make him stronger? You've just flipped the entire social dynamic without saying a single word. People aren't watching the accusation anymore. They're studying your response. And silence, when delivered with presence, speaks volumes louder than any justification ever could. He who explains submits. He who remains silent forces others to fill in the blanks, and they often overestimate him. This is the game-changing principle that separates those who react from those who command. But let's go deeper. Sometimes you don't. You invert the accusation. Just ignore the accusation, you invert it completely. Someone calls you manipulative. You smile, look past them, and say calmly if that's how you see it. Not defensive, not apologetic, just cool, neutral detachment. Watch what happens next. They scramble because they were hoping for a fight. They wanted to see you squirm. Instead, they're left holding their own weapon, wondering if they overstepped, if they embarrassed themselves, if they look insecure now. And guess what? They do. You've just taken the energy they threw at you and made them carry it without lifting a finger. Here's where it gets even more powerful. In business meetings, when someone subtly undermines you with comments like, "I'm not sure that strategy is really thought through," most people lean forward, explain, prove, clarify. They get nervous, and the room can smell it. But the Machiavellian operator, he leans back. He waits, maybe even smirks slightly. And if he speaks, it's not a defense, it's a redirect. Let's hear your strategy then. Boom. Now the attacker has to perform, and the room flips. Suddenly they're being evaluated. They're under pressure because silence from the confident is accusation without words. In personal relationships, this becomes even more potent. When your partner says, "You don't care about me anymore," the average person panics and launches into explanations and reassurances, but the Machiavellian approach is different. You let the weight of the accusation hang. Watch them feel their own drama echo in the space, then respond calmly. "That's not how I see it." Short, grounded, no explanation, no justification. Now they feel uncertain. They question their own tone because you've controlled what matters most, the emotional tempo. But here's the coldest move of all. Sometimes you don't just remain calm when accused. You disappear. Someone insults you. Don't reply. Don't respond. Don't acknowledge, but don't block them either. Let your absence sit like a mirror. This breaks people in two ways. First, they realize you didn't even deem them worthy of a response. Second, they start spinning internal narratives that usually destroy their composure. They post more, talk to others, try to bait a reply. And with every attempt, they look weaker, more obsessed, more unhinged, while you remain perfectly still. Only people who can't be influenced say that. This is how you make their accusation look like their insecurity. When someone you don't respond calls you arrogant, you respond, "Strange that confidence makes people so uncomfortable." When they say you're fake, everyone says that when they stop getting what they want. You're not just denying the accusation, you're making it their problem. It's a power judo throw where you use their emotional force to create their public collapse. The world teaches you to defend your reputation, to explain yourself, to clear your name. But Machiavelli saw the trap. The moment you chase innocence, you admit guilt. So the true strategist never plays that game. Instead, he appears too composed to be shaken, too elevated to care, too clear on his position to explain it. Here's the paradox that will blow your mind. The more you explain yourself, the more alone you look, because no one feels the need to step in when you're already arguing your own case. But when you remain calm and silent, people start feeling the urge to defend you. They say that was uncalled for. Or why are you coming after him when he didn't even respond? Suddenly, they become your shield. And what's better than defending yourself, letting others do it for you without even asking? In the digital arena, when you're attacked online, don't defend or explain, distort. When someone says you're toxic or manipulative, instead of posting a tearful defense, you post, "People always call you dangerous when they can't control you." What just happened? You didn't defend. You reframed the accusation into a badge of power. Now they look bitter. You look unfazed, and the audience begins questioning who's really in control. Let me give you 3 surgical tools to use instead of defending yourself. Silence, the default, cold, powerful, leaves them exposed. Deflection. Reframe the narrative without acknowledging the jab. Precision cuts. Short, sharp truths that end the game immediately. Examples. You're full of yourself. Response. Confidence upsets the insecure, you're fake. Response. I don't owe you. You cross a line. Authenticity. You think you're better than everyone. Response. No, I just don't think like everyone. These aren't defenses. They're status assertions. They don't say, "I'm not guilty," they say, "You can't touch me." When you refuse to defend yourself, something incredible happens to your enemies. They become unhinged because they expected a battle, and instead they're swinging at smoke. They escalate, push harder, get more dramatic, expose more of their insecurity. And the more they do, the more you rise in others' eyes. You've made them perform their own collapse. Here's the final evolution. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being unbothered by design. Once you've trained yourself not to defend, not to explain, not to seek validation, you cross a line where your existence becomes the defense. Think about the most powerful people you know. They don't post long rants, don't correct the record, don't argue with critics, yet people respect them more. Why? Because don't correct the record silence in the face of accusation creates myth. The human mind, when left without an explanation, fills the void with strength. People assume you must be dangerous, that you know something they don't, that you're so secure you don't even blink when challenged. And that assumption is where real power is born. Remember this, the most dangerous man is not the one who attacks first. It is the one who never needs to. You'll reach a point where attacks stop, not because you fought them, but because people know they'll lose before they start. Your presence will say, "I don't play defense, I let others destroy themselves trying to reach me." From this point forward, you don't live in defense. You live in definition. You define your image, your tone, your silence. And people feel that certainty behind your eyes, the calmness in your posture, the power in your quiet. Never defending yourself doesn't mean never speaking. It means speaking only when it shifts the power. When you do speak, it should feel like a calculated move, not a desperate response. Because every time you don't explain yourself, every time you hold still while the world spins around you, you become the one thing they can never control. A person who answers to no one but themselves. If this changed your perspective on power dynamics, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that reveals the hidden psychology behind influence and control. And remember, your silence is your strength. Use it wisely.